At what point do we say that AI has gone too far? Hey, I'm your host of the Good Advice Podcast. My name's Blake Benz, and we're talking today about how so many businesses are running wild about AI, and yet it doesn't seem like we're slowing down and really considering the effects of AI and what it could mean for the everyday business person. As we get into today's episode, we have a lot to talk about, but before we dive in, we have a word from one of the incredible businesses that sponsors the podcast. Check out this quick ad, and we'll be right back soon. Do you ever feel like your payment processor is robbing you blind? For some of us, it's not blind. We look at the amount of money that's going to our payment processor month after month, and a lot of times we ask ourselves, is there a better way? I'm making good money, yet so much of it isn't actually ending up in my pocket. In the world of payment processing, in many cases, it's a cashless world, so you have to have a payment processor you can really trust. I personally am a big fan of Brad Norwood, who's the owner of PrimePaymentsUSA.com. Brad's a business owner himself. He knows all the challenges that come with running a business. More importantly, he knows the value of an individual customer. See, some of these bigger businesses, they're all about scale. They're all about bringing in as many customers as possible. But do they know your name? Do they know your business? Do they know what's important to you? In many cases, the answer is no. And in worst cases, they're just looking to get as much money from every transaction that you work hard for, which really doesn't feel too good. So you got to reach out to Brad Norwood today and understand how he's doing business and why it can save you money month after month. More importantly, you might even ask him about his zero-fee payment processing that he's offering to a select few of people. Go to PrimePaymentsUSA.com and start putting the money that you worked hard for back into your pocket. So I saw this on LinkedIn today of an AI personality, an AI, and in fact, the headline, the copy read, "Say goodbye to influencers." And what this was a pretty realistic, I say pretty realistic. If you wouldn't have known it was AI, you would not have known that it was AI. If someone hadn't told you, you wouldn't have known it was AI. And it was a woman who even had a name like Emily or something. And they said, yeah, meet your next AI influencer. It was uncanny how real it was. Back in the day, they joked about, look at the hands, look at the fingers. None of that was happening here. It also reminds me of it wasn't a video, it was a picture of someone. It looked like a woman in a car with her friend and holding up a piece of paper that read, "I'm not real." And this was an AI generated picture. Again, looking incredibly realistic. And then last night, I saw on LinkedIn, a company was advertising their AI customer support avatar, I guess. And it was a woman talking about how excited she was to work with us and collaborate with you and help you and all this kind of stuff. And again, it was entirely AI generated. Now, I've seen versions of this in the past where like the audio doesn't really match the lips. You can kind of tell that it's not real. This was not the case for this video, in that I was like, wow, again, if you didn't know it was AI, if someone hadn't told you it was AI, you wouldn't have known it was AI. This podcast episode is a little bit different because, there's really nothing. There's nothing you're going to take from this and apply to your business today. But I think the general concept is that more and more businesses are looking to scale. They're looking to operate at a high level of scale, and they're looking to reduce the cost of intentionality, genuineness, authenticity, and what have you, because these things are expensive. They're not expensive just in terms of the dollar amount with them. They're also expensive in terms of time investment, resources, what have you. For someone to get on the phone with a frustrated customer and talk through the problem and, hey, I really want to help, talk me through this, let's get this figured out. Okay, we can't figure it out over the phone. Hey, I'm going to drive over to your office and I'm going to get this figured out right in person. That's an extremely expensive process in terms of your time. Instead, you saw companies years ago move to this sort of general automated answering call service where, press 1 to hold on the line. And, we're all very familiar with that. And even to the point where now, you know, hope to God you don't have an issue with your cable, because otherwise you're going to be on a support line for an hour or more just to try to get it resolved. So, in similar fashion, we're seeing AI take that and ratchet it up to the next level. We're seeing AI customer support specialists, AI influencers, even AI podcasts, where you give the podcast you give a prompt to the show, and then it completely generates a fake conversation between two fake people to create this weird illusion of content. It's almost like we saw this with first Instagram Reels and then YouTube Shorts, and then now especially with TikTok, where people will doom scroll for hours and hours and hours on end because there's never a shortage of content. There's never a shortage of more things to consume, more things to learn. You've probably said this yourself or had a friend who said this about, yeah, I was up late at night last night on a YouTube bender. I was down the YouTube rabbit hole because content, there's never a shortage of it. You're never going to run out of it. And now, in order to sort of deal with people's appetites for content, now you have people who have figured out that you can use AI to create content and never be involved in it at all. In some ways, I'm not trying to be curmudgeon-y or, grouchy about the clever ways that people learn how to make money. But when I saw this video of this AI customer support specialist, I genuinely thought this is scary. This is a problem. This can't be our future. This can't be what we're heading towards. And I've been thinking about, like, why do I feel that way? What is it about AI? And I think part of it is, I'm not really thinking this is going to become like Terminator or End of the World or what have you. I think it's because my bias has always been to try to be genuine and authentic and intentional. And AI is everything but that. It is the antithesis of that. It is impersonal. It is designed to be at scale with the least amount of inputs, applying to the maximum amount of outputs. And I have a problem with that. Moreover, not only that, but in a world where, you hear fake news scream from the rooftops, and, you have a loved one or a friend or someone who says, well, and then they say like a data point or a news fact or what have you. And you're kind of like, wait, what? Like, it's almost like, just to throw like flat earthers under the bus. It's like when you have like that casual person who says like, well, the earth's flat. And you're like, oh, I didn't know you felt that way. Now there are so many more examples of things like that where someone will say something like that you're like, okay, that's interesting. So part of me is also a bit apprehensive around the implications of what does this mean for information? And I know in the US at least, we have a government that can get to be very old and are certainly not as equipped or informed about technology as a, Gen Zer would be naturally. So I have real questions about my kids' future and what they're going to grow up with and how misinformation genuinely is going to get handled. And what does that look like? Part of this also pairs off the news that Meta is no longer going to be moderating information in the same way. And in some ways, I see the benefits of, sort of like the people who talk about the freedom to, I don't even know how to articulate this without it sounding bad, right? Only because as I process these things, I continue to see such deep, unchecked misinformation and wrong news and false news on both sides of the political aisle, by the way, that I genuinely don't know what the future looks like. So I guess what does this mean for your business? Honestly, what does it mean for your brand when it comes to next steps and scaling and how to do things better and do it faster? I think that the deep concept, if you're a small business owner here, is understanding that AI cannot be the the content. It cannot be the entirety of the service that you offer. And if it is, you are on your way to getting beat out by someone else who can do it faster and more efficiently and cheaper than you. Because at the end of the day, it's not really how you do it, it's how the AI system does it. If you have an AI podcast and that's how you make your money, you are on your way to getting beat out by whoever can, you know, um, generate that at a higher pace, more episodes, more interesting, AI, personalities, what have you. So this is worth mentioning because I think sometimes people get it confused. They make AI the meat of their offer, and then they come alongside it and kind of brush up the awkwardness or the inconsistencies. They are making sure that that it's actually the right brand or the right feel or the right touch. It's the backwards way to approach AI. The right way to approach business is you have your offer or service that is directly related to your brilliance in the business space, your skill sets, your talents, what you're good at, what have you. And then AI is actually the thing that comes alongside and helps fine tune it or improve it or supports it or what have you. I have found that people who are leveraging AI really well understand that concept, and then everyone else is getting it backwards because they are frankly chasing, the rabbit holes of endless AI tools. I mean, just look at the news. You see so many companies where every press report, news release, new feature, it all is AI, AI, AI. I was looking at the CES 2025, the Consumer Electronics show that just happened, and every product was, our AI infused whatever, or our, AI, it's now with Next AI, or like these different terminology that are pure buzzword. Like you have to understand how much this is just marketing. It's knowing how excited people are about AI and literally attaching it to every single service that there is. But I'm concerned. I'm concerned about businesses that are obsessively chasing the AI high. I'm concerned about the lack of parameters that we're putting around what makes it safe and what keeps us safe and keeps it from going too far. I don't know what that means when I say that, by the way, just the point where I'm like, okay, yeah, this is definitely past the point. And again, I don't know, maybe that makes me grouchy or makes me, and you know what? It could be 10 years from now. I look back and I say, yep, I lost in the marketplace because I was unwilling to make AI the foundation of my offer. But I think I'm also okay with that. I think I'm okay with, um, with, I don't know, continuing to rely on the brilliance of a human being and a human that's not talking about myself, by the way. I'm talking about just people in general, understanding the value of people in general and our own creativity and our own, I don't know, it's kind of like I was talking to someone who we were talking about art, and they were showing me some art that they liked, and I said, "Yeah, that's really incredible." And they're like, "Yeah, it's entirely AI." And like when they said that, they were saying it from a perspective of like, "Isn't this amazing?" But as I heard that, I was like, I don't know. It kind of devalues it a bit for me because it is mathematical numbers that have created this and not someone's innovation and brilliance. So I don't know, kind of a weird episode today because I don't know, again, I don't know where this goes long term or what this means or, um, what it even is the short term day to day implication for your business, other than just thinking about, okay, yeah, there is a craze about AI. And here's something else I'll tell you that might be valuable is a lot of times people, it's kind of like Bitcoin. Everyone hears about Bitcoin, then everyone starts to buy Bitcoin. And it's like, I don't want to miss out. I don't want to miss out. The same thing is very much true for whatever the marketing trend of today is. There was to your door delivery that was at a fever pitch 10 years ago in terms of like Blue Apron, and then all these other services popped up to try to match that. Nowadays, very few even continue to exist. And I think even Blue Apron, either it doesn't exist anymore or it's not doing well just because the nature of the game has changed so much. You have to understand when things are a fad and when things are a shining object. I do believe AI will change the game. I think it has changed the game. I think that there's an incredible access to great supporting tools and services and things that can help you with your offer. And you'd be crazy not to do those things and not to leverage those things. But to sing praises to AI that it is the answer to your business, you're going to miss it. You're going to miss it, and you're going to wonder why it didn't make you an overnight success, because everyone's chasing it. Everyone's, trying to create the next big thing from it. So focus on what's genuinely true about you and your services and your offer and your intentionality. And I have to believe that you'll win long-term over all of this crazy AI-generated fluff. Hey, that's today's episode. I appreciate you tuning into the podcast. If you're a first-time listener, what took you so long to find us? Click the subscribe or follow button so you can keep getting good advice wherever you are. Don't forget we have a Patreon, patreon.com/goodadvice, where you can support the podcast. If you want to advertise on the podcast, you can reach out Blake at goodadvicecoaching.com. That's today's good advice. I'll see you later.